What's up everybody, this is Mattia, and today I should have adjusted my hair a bit more. No, well, today we're going to talk about the ER2XR. This is not a review, I already did the review on this channel. This is just a revision of these, and I decided to change the ear tips from silicone, the classic triple flange ear tips that I regularly use, to foam, just because I wanted to try something else, something new. Because I knew that the isolation with the standard silicone triple flange tips was already just insane. It was about 30 to 35 decibels of isolation depending on where you fit it inside your ear canal. And with these, they reach even higher heights, even higher. We're talking about like 40 decibels of isolation. It's even stated in the site of Etymotic, hey, if you use the foam tips, you will get a maximum like 42 dBs of isolation, which means shooting range levels of isolation. You can go shooting with these, like right now with these tips. And I discovered that a couple of things. First of all, these are massive. If you look at them, like, they're giant, they're gigantic. Of course, this fucking cam ain't gonna give these a focus. The lighting also is crap, but I don't know if you can quite see them. They're gigantic compared to the regular barrel of the ER2XR itself. These are much bigger, much bigger. They're gigantic, and you regularly squeeze them, like they go like this. You crunch them into like a barrel, you insert them into your ear rapidly, and you let them expand with the help of the heat of your body, and they fill up your entire ear canal. Like, they fucking just explode inside your ear canal. They fill completely, and what you gain is bit more isolation than the standard silicone tips, a different sound signature, and generally a more softer presentation. The downside of these is actually the pain that you get with them. It's not the softest foam I've ever felt, and it's not the softest material. These are actually kind of scratchy inside your ear canal, and when inserting and extracting them, because you do not just pull them out, you extract these and you install these in your brain. Basically, they go so deep that you almost feel like they're being jogged up in a place that you don't want them to. You've never had something going so deep inside your ear canal, but these. And you gain isolation, and you get it's just, you can go on a train with these, you can go on a plane, and you will not hear anything but a soft, just rumbly sensation of the engine, especially when you go with the train, and only thing you hear is just a whisper, 20 decibels of background whisper, which is amazing. Honestly, you can separate, if you are one of those persons that, one of those people, not persons, god damn it, by the way, if you are one of those people that really wants to detach himself or herself from the world, these are perfect for you. These are just amazing, and they really do work in every single environment, but the microphonics are not reduced as much as I wanted them to, so I still not use these for just commuting and walking. They're not gonna work. They have too much microphonics, so much that they tend to distract yourself from the music. And no matter what I tried, aside like literally holding the chin cinch right here and splitting the cable just like this, I put these on, imagine them inside my ear canals, and I just held, literally I had my hand right there to hold these separately, because they will not otherwise stay without making all the noise of the world. Like, these are super microphonic, even with these foam tips, which is unfortunately a bit disappointing. So isolation goes up a notch from the already amazing isolation of the silicones. That's great. And what changes is a bit like how do you insert them. It's not anymore the standard like, okay, let's go and just push them in. You have to squeeze these and insert them very, very fast inside your ear, because otherwise you gotta squeeze them again because they will expand relatively fast, and you just have to be very, very fast about that. And you also have to be careful because when inserting and extracting, these tips are not known for having the best quality. Just be careful of not putting them too deeply, because when you crunch them up like this and you just squeeze them, you see that the dimension gets much smaller than the standard like silicone tips. It gets smaller, so these can actually go farther in your ear canal when they're squeezed like that. Just be careful and put them just at the second band or before the second band. Do not just go past that. And I actually don't know exactly where my second band is. I don't know at the moment of insertion where that zone is located. I just stop after a certain point because otherwise it starts to kind of hurt, especially when you like extract and insert them. Be careful with the extraction also. Do it slowly. Make sure you pull the ear tip with the like if you want to be a bit more sure of the of a safe extraction of these, when you insert them, rotate them just a bit. I think that it's going to hurt for some people because these taking up a large portion of your ear canal. When you move them, they hurt because your ear canal has adapted to that kind of filling, and this foam is scratchy, so when you turn them, it tends to hurt, especially after like an hour and a half, 2 hours. So be careful, just rotate them just a touch to soften them up, and then pull them. Just go when you rotate them and they compress a bit, extract them fast and you'll be safe. Don't just go in and just fucking pull them out like that, because there might be a chance of the foam sticking inside your ear canal. Just be careful. These are a deep fitting IM, just for you to know. Now the sound changes. I want to make this short. This is not going to be like one of those 30 minutes long videos. The sound, what changes? As usual, foam tips change a bit the transient behavior of the sound, and all things considered, the sound gets a bit softer, the attack is not as fast, the decay is a touch slower, especially on some frequencies. I'm talking about the upper mid-range. That zone is especially affected by these. I think that also the bass gets a touch less thumpy, but a bit more in terms of quantity, or at least the perception. It might just be the fact that it decays more slowly and it doesn't have the same attack, so you perceive the bass as a bit more bloomy and a bit more. But I will classify these as still as a sub-bass booster than I am, even with these foam tips, despite the slight increase in the zone of the mid-bass, or at least the perception of it. And I will also consider the fact that these tips, as most foam tips, reduce a specific range of the mid-range and lower treble, in which in a zone between tot K and tot K, talking about hertz, kilohertz, they tend, depending on the foam, depending on the size, depending on the deepness of the insertion, depth, not deepness, sorry, depth of the insertion, you can change the sound a bit. And foamies are more dependent. They tend to change the sound more relatively to each other rather than a silicone ear tip and another silicone ear tip. just because the sponginess of the foam, the behavior of the foam, like having all these holes inside it, it does absorb some frequencies more than others, so it tends to lend itself better for some songs than others, depending on which sound might be played in that region of in what the foam could absorb. So depending on whether the sound is played between tot kilohertz and tot kilohertz, it might vary in terms of clarity and how much do you perceive a certain range, which might be fundamental or not to your enjoyment and or the gain, the actual gain of the ear. I actually find the upper mid-range with these foams a bit more attenuated, not just in terms of transient behavior, but also in terms of sheer quantity of the upper mid-range. Etymotics are known for the diffuse field target, which has like a 14 dB pinna gain, which is a bit much for me, so these help out a bit. So to sum it up, what did you gain with putting these ear tips on? You gain isolation, you gain a bit more stability, a touch less of microphonics, and you gain a bit of a softness to the sound. You get a bit more a perception of more mid bass, and you get a reduced upper mid range. The treble clarity and the details are all there. It's just that they're a bit softened up. The attack is not as sharp as it is with the regular foam tips. And what you lose is a bit of security in terms of just sheer safety, and you lose also a bit of tightness in the bass. You lose a bit of that attack. If you are like a fully neutral audiophile, I want the spin again to be just where it is, where Etymotic stabilized it to be. I don't recommend using the foams, as it will reduce a bit in terms of the intensity of the range, and with that might come a bit of detraction from the clarity of these IMs. Still, I don't consider these to be much different than they are actually with this regular silicone ear tips. So it's not a massive difference, but it is noticeable enough to make a video on it. For me just to open up the computer and tell you, hey, there's this difference. You can make these a bit different just by changing the foamies. So I understand why these might not be comfortable for everybody. In fact, I might think that triple flanges might be more comfortable for most people than these, but I can live with them. They're not as comfortable, but they're fine, and they change the signature in a way that I tend to like more. So that's about it. Soundstage doesn't change. Imaging gets just a bit more blurry in those more sophisticated tracks, but I think that what I get in terms of tonal shift and the slight increase in mid bass and the slightly softer attack that I tend to like, I think that for me it's a well worth trade-off. And you also get the amazing extra 5 dBs of isolation, which is already insane on the standard silicones, as I said before, and now it is even more insane. Like, you can go shooting with these, I'm not joking. Well, that's about it. Sorry for, my god, it's 14 minutes. Holy crap. Okay, that about sums it up. I'm gonna let you know when a new product comes home. Possibly next I'm going to get like the Moondrop Quarks, which I will honestly use for sleeping. They have a very similar signature to the Etymotics, albeit a bit warmer just by looking at the graph. And clearly, I don't think they're gonna be on the same level, but just for the form factor and for sheer cost, like, yeah, I think that's gonna be a great purchase. So that's about it. Gonna see you in the next video. I think it's gonna be the Moondrop Quarks. And yeah, see you in the next time. Bye bye.